Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. Manchester United 4, Sheffield United 2. The mighty Reds go marching on. Europa Conference League, here we come. Joining me as always, well not as always, but is my good friend David Scott. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think about that result. We've got on the thumbnail there, Bruno Masterclass. I thought Bruno played very well, but want to discuss all the rest of that game with you. Scotty, it was a weird one because I think Ronaldo said it just as we were wrapping up the live stream that despite the fact there was 6 goals, there was parts of that game that weren't very entertaining. No,
it's probably one of the least entertaining games I've seen with 6 goals. It was really sluggish. I mean, Sheffield United weren't really worthy of the 2 goals that they got. It was obviously the Onana cock-up that got them the first, and then there was a little bit of a mix-up with the defending for the second. But they didn't really, by any right, should have had 2 goals. I mean, Coventry, and you look at their 20 minutes at Wembley at the weekend, there was some value for the goals that they got to get themselves back into the game, but a lot of it was down to United's lack of ability to finish in the first half, particularly in Garnacho, and then some bad defending in the second that warranted their 2 goals, really, but they were non-existent, really, as you'd expect for a team at the bottom of the league.
No, they were, and I think they almost got a bit surprised when they'd scored.
Yeah, like, what's going on here?
And I think they had a bit more about them, like we saw from Coventry at the weekend, where they thought, actually, United are weakened and United are there for the taking kind of thing. But as well, you have to be honest, United at Old Trafford, even despite the faults of having the amount of results we've had go against us this season, even at Old Trafford, you still expect us with the players out on the pitch to be able to rally and to be able to get a result. And a big part of that was Bruno Fernandes. I mean, that's the kind of performance he's capable of, isn't it? I don't think there's anything that way you go, I can't believe Bruno Fernandes has just done that. Because we've seen it in the past. I think the criticism that sometimes he gets is when things are going against us, he can lose his head a bit. But tonight, he kind of went, look, I'm going to get hold of this game and make things happen.
Yeah, certainly. And I'll hold my hands up, and I've been critical of Bruno Fernandes probably during his career at Manchester United. But tonight, it was very much a captain's performance. He led by example, sort of rallied within the midfield. He got his assist.
Yeah.
Got a penalty, took that ownership, and then got a brilliant goal as well. Do you know what I mean? What more could you expect from Bruno Fernandes in that game? So I thought it was man of the match. I thought Mainu in the first half was a really industrial player, all over the park. Ahmad, when it came on for Anthony, I'd like to see more of him. Ten Hag's excuse before the game was that Ahmad's not getting minutes because he's not got any minutes. Now he's got minutes, with hopefully he can start against Burnley. Garnacho again on the left-hand side. Much prefer him there myself to Rashford. And we just looked a bit more, we looked a better team. Obviously the defensive issues were there. But going forward, I think in the first half, we were 83% possession.
Yeah.
And, I don't know it's Sheffield United, but you can only play who you've got in front of you. No. It was a better performance if you just look at it from that point of view, take the mistakes in the defence away from it.
No, I think it was a kind of one of those games where after an hour or whatever it was, when Sheffield United were like, what is going on here? But on the whole, United were good value for our win. We deserved to win. Yep. And I think you can't moan too much. I know it's not perfect. Let's not pretend it is. I don't think you moan too much about a 4-2 win. When, yes, Sheffield United are terrible, whatever, but certain players like Kobbie Mainoo, for example, have put in really good performances. I've got to give him a bit of a nod as well, because I thought he was fantastic, as he has been for pretty much every game he's played for Manchester United as well. And it was good to see Rasmus Højlund, as you mentioned during the stream. We felt like he needed a goal. It's been a little while on it. He had that purple patch in the Premier League. Yeah. Stopped scoring. As a striker, you want to get amongst the goals. I think that takes him to, I think it's 14 in total for the season, which is not a bad return for a young striker in his first season in English football. I'll get into some of the comments as well and welcome people to the membership. Loads of people, Ian O'Shea, Biff Cakin, Mike Davis, Chronic, he's had me all once already, Chronic Mathematics debater, all welcome to the Academy. Loads of gifted memberships I should say, flying about on that watch along. Big thank you to the people that donated them. Ronaldo Go even says Ahmad Masterclass. Nomad Joe says, don't tell Motti to put Garnacho on the left over Rashford. I think that's what you were saying, weren't you? That you think we played better when Alejandro Garnacho is in there. And I thought Garnacho wasn't really his best game today, but he always looks lively. And I don't mind that idea because I like Garnacho. In fact, I really like him. I think he's a fantastic footballer. Jansu Fatty says, what's going on, lads? Well, what's going, lads? JR says, United win. Liverpool bottle the league. I mean, we've had worse days, haven't we? Abhinav Verma says, you could see Maguire high up the field, gets exposed due to poor scanning. Hence, I feel our defence keeps dropping deep. Better players needed here. someone was saying earlier, right at the beginning of this, Art Tavar says, my baby started laughing when you guys laughed. I love that. Jansu Fatty also said, if Garnacho would sweat the ball, he would have 10 more assists this season. I think it means square the ball. Nomad Joe says, overall, a great night. Henrik Ruckman says, Ericsson had a good impact on our play in the first half. Ronaldo Goat says, what do you think about Ethan Wheatley? Brilliant. Great little cameo.
It certainly was, and I think it's 200. He becomes the 250th graduate of the Manchester United Academy with his appearance tonight. Which
Good to
is,
see. I mean,
a brilliant thing.
I've heard good things about him, obviously, from that cameo. You can't tell a lot, but there's a reason he's getting into that team, and that's what I see as well, because the academy and the under-18s in particular have just won the Premier League Cup. They've also won the Premier League. They had that record-breaking run as well. The academy going great this season. I mean, it's easy to be negative about the first team with good reason. But you look at Manchester United and you think, actually, look at the academy. Look at the fact that we're actually getting some people into football in jobs who know about football, which is the first time we've done that in 18 years. Since Ferguson retired, I should say. Then there are reasons to look at the club as a whole and go, okay, we're moving in the right direction. And when you see some of the youngsters we've got coming through and some of the results we've been getting at the academy level, I hasten to add, it's been great. You mentioned Onana's mistake. Well, everyone did. Cost us a goal. There's no two ways about it. Gave the ball away. Bad first touch. Then he gives the ball away, and then he doesn't stop the ball going in the back of the net. What did you make of him after that goal? Did you see anything else from him that you thought, or was it just a bit of an easy afternoon for him?
It felt like a sort of an easy evening, but it was just confusing. I'm thinking he didn't know which way he was going to kick the ball. I'm like, well, you got to make your mind up, and especially for
bad touch when you saw that. I think he panicked, didn't he, badly when he took that heavy touch, and then
it's like, am I going short or am I going long? And he just went in between.
Kick it out for a throw-in. It's not the end of the world. But then he tried to make up for it by picking a pass out which wasn't on. Didn't see the player, obviously. If you saw the player, then we've got real issues. And then for the other goal, I can't barely remember the other goal, to be honest with you. But I don't. It was.
I don't think he's at fault for that. It was bad defending.
Someone said it at the time. It was in the box when it was the kid who was just completely unmarked. Caleb Diertel, who's been a member of the first team for 37 months, says, for all of Onana's mistakes this season, he has equally far more often helped keep us in games we had no right being in. I think on the whole he's been a positive. I do. I think he had obviously a disastrous spell in the Champions League. But in the league, I think he's improved, and I think he has. Overall, has been a very good goalkeeper.
And the way I look at Onana is, if you compare it to De Gea's first season at Manchester United, he was guilty of his fair clangers, and throughout his whole tenure. So I think Onana, whilst lesser characters may have squirmed, having them sort of Champions League performances, he's come out after every match where he's made a mistake and tried to move forward, and I think he's definitely improved his season despite tonight's mistake.
Joanne Sufat has gifted a membership as well. Those people in the chat. Thibaut says, playing out the back always comes with these clangers. It's a numbers game, innit? Daniel Berry says that De Gea was 90 in his first year. De Gea was a kid. He took him a little while to settle in English football, I know. But I think you got to give Onana a little bit of time to get used to it. And it does, for me, I don't worry about Andre Onana anymore. I don't. I personally, I'm not looking at him going, oh God, Andre Onana. I think he's having a decent season. I think he's sort of done well to rally round after a spell which could have broken him.
Yeah, and I think as well is we're always looking at the sort of lack of defenders, centre-backs. I think once we've got like a Martinez or ball-playing centre-backs in front of him, I think that'd make a massive difference to what Onana can do, because at the moment it's like looking at Maguire and like, well, you're not a ball-playing centre-back. Casemiro, you're not. His options are somewhat limited.
No, I 100% agree. And you've got to take all this into consideration when you've got a team that's under the cosh. We're conceding more shots than ever, constantly changing defence. I mean, it's not ideal, is it, to be honest with you? Get involved in the comments in the chat and let us know what you thought about that performance, by that game. Amad Diallo and Anthony now, he's got to do the right thing, hasn't he, this gaffer?
What do you mean? Send him back to Brazil?
Well, I just feel like Diallo's leapfrogged him. He's got, for me, if you're going to pick one of them, you pick Diallo, wouldn't you?
I can't understand the rationale why you wouldn't pick Amad.
I feel like I might be wrong, but I sense that he thinks he's got to because he spent all this money on him, and because it's like, well, if I'm not, I think when everyone's fit, he don't play. I think it's Rashford, Højlund and Garnacho.
Yeah.
But I think once he starts getting injuries, then he feels like, well, I've at least got to play him when someone's not fit.
Yeah, that's his horse at his back. Then maybe his career sort of seen on the benefit on what he can bring.
Yeah, but I think if you're going to be, and we saw it tonight, I think when it push comes to shove and he realises, I need to win this football match, who's the better player to help me win it? It ain't Antony.
No.
That's why he swapped him for Diallo, because Diallo was more effective. And you saw that as soon as Diallo comes on, he's amongst it, he's getting hold of the ball.
And we were getting beat 2-1 at that stage.
Yeah.
You know?
And I just feel with Antony, he offers very little. And I've tried to get behind him. I was hoping so much the Liverpool game and the Chelsea game that would be it.
Yeah.
He'd have a good end to the season. But since those games, we've seen absolutely nothing. And I think his performance at Wembley when he came on was non-existent. And I think tonight I can't recall him doing anything. And it's a real shame because, you see these little moments from him where you think there's a player there, but on the whole, just massively underwhelming.
He just represents the sort of buys under the Glazers, really. Paid massively over the odds, I'd say 3 times over the odds. And with that, Manchester United fans are expecting a hell of a lot more. It puts pressure on a manager because you've spent 50 million more on a player than what it was worth, and you're expecting more. Do you know what I mean? So it may not all be Antony's fault. Maybe that's the height of his ability.
Yeah,
but the height of his ability isn't good enough for Manchester United. It never has been, and it never will be.
There you go. A fool named Huggy said, Aman didn't do a lot, but offered more than Antony. I kind of get that, to be honest with you. John Ross says Ericsson went off the same time. That saved the match. Daniel Monk says Antony's done for this year if he can't show up against Sheffield. James Churchill says Ahmad weren't noticeably better than Antony tonight. It was marginal and everything. I thought he might. It wasn't amazingly better, but I thought he was better. To be honest with you,
it's not just what he's doing on the ball. It's how much he's trying to get involved in the actual game and disrupting play. Do you know what I mean? He didn't take anybody on as much or do this amazing piece of skill, but just looking busy and trying to break up play is a skill in itself.
Amaya Kakali says Ahmad deserves the start. Yeah, I would like to see him start, to be honest with you, but I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if we'll see it. Liam Clark says Ahmad, close control, his runs, his basic decent passing is better than any of our other wide forwards. Dave Little says, Jay, why can't we ever take Bruno off and rest him? I think we know what will happen if we do that, because he, when he's on it, Bruno, he's as good as anyone. In football, he's he can be one of the best midfielders on the planet. We've seen that.
Yeah,
we've seen him put up silly numbers that were record-breaking numbers at one point for a midfielder. It's like, what's going on? Even when he's gone, when his numbers dropped a little bit, he was still creating as much or more than the likes of Odegaard and De Bruyne and players like that who are in much better teams as well. So you can see that the player is there. It's just that consistency level, and it's just, for me, sometimes, like tonight, was a perfect example of what I want to see from Bruno. When we're struggling or when we're chasing a game we're capable of winning, him getting on the ball and making things happen. Yeah. That's what I want to see from Bruno. Not shouting at the referee, not kicking off, not trying to shoot for him. I know he had a goal from far out, but not trying to shoot from like 50 yards out.
It was a very composed performance, wasn't it? Mature.
The pass for Højlund, was it Højlund's goal?
Oh, that was great. The goal
just sublime, absolutely sublime. Burnley next up, Scotty. What are your thoughts? Do you stick with this team? Do you change it? Is that Ahmad in for Antony?
I think Ahmad in for Antony. We haven't got many options really to make any changes. I'm not too sure what the situation is with Rashford, but for me, I'd keep Rashford out of the starting 11 or the firing line spotlight for as long as possible. I prefer Garnacho down the left. We've definitely got enough there to beat Burnley. God, we should do. Just a defensive mistakes at the back that need tidying up with Casemiro and Maguire until the end of the season. Maybe there's always a possibility of that, but we were looking at fixtures for Villa and Spurs who are above us. I still believe, and that the little optimist that's inside me, that there is an outside chance.
You worry me with that, because you're not an optimist. You're a cynic. But so when you think it can happen,
there's a chance.
That makes me think maybe there is. If you're sitting here going, we could... Do you know what I mean? Champions League football.
Yeah, but I mean, things happen in life, Jay. A lot of things that people don't expect, like Everton beating Liverpool 2-0 at Goodison Park. A Sean Dyche masterclass beating.
Do you know what made me laugh?
Knocking them.
I was watching the build up before we went live, and Gary Neville was on the build up, and he's like, "Look, obviously Everton are going to try and win, and they want to win and all that. But you think half of them, the eye might be on the other fixtures and think, this is a bit of a free one. It doesn't matter.
That's what Neville was.
Yeah, he was like, if we maybe look at the other ones as the winnable ones." And you're thinking, like, he made the point, obviously they want to win it, but like that it's kind of beyond them almost to win this one. And the other fixtures they've got coming up, I think they're playing Brentford at the weekend or wherever it is. That's the one that they'll be focused on because they're in a relegation battle, and that's a more winnable one. But I mean, to beat Liverpool 2-0, fair play.
To save your season, right, and stop Liverpool winning the league.
I mean, Evertonians, right? Evertonians have had it harder than almost any fan base. Seriously, they have had it rough. To watch your rivals do what Liverpool have done, to miss out on anything, to be like against relegation so often. And at one point you've had like Carlo Ancelotti as your manager, and you've had this time when you spent like 400 million over 2 seasons or whatever. So yeah, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Everton because my enemy's enemy is my friend and all that jazz. SG's been a member of the academy for 39 months. Says, I wonder how Bruno's back's doing with the rest of the team on it. Do stick around, gonna have more reaction. Gonna hear from Andy Tate very shortly. That's been Scotty. I've been Motty. I think I've put a little link there to our Scotty and Motty Patreon if you want to go and check me and him out on our other channel. It's just there in the chat. We do a little Scotty and Motty channel. If you don't know it, we teamed up with Sloppy Joe's as well recently, so you can go and check that out. We're back in the morning as well with the news, and we've got Off the Bar coming up on the news, so make sure as well you are subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.